Now, Talk Real Estate, sponsored by Boston Connect Real Estate Services.
Hi, I'm Sharon McNamara, and you are listening to Talk Real Estate. Let me share a little bit about my background before we get started. I am the broker-owner of Boston Connect Real Estate, located on the South Shore, and I have been working as a full-time realtor and sales and marketing consultant for home buyers and home sellers for the past 15 years. My unique approach to assisting my clients to the next chapter of their lives is driven by being a team player and by offering them continuous training, education, advising, and mentoring. Every week, I will be providing you with real estate topics ranging from home buyer and home seller advice, legal matters, insurance binders, flood insurance concerns, home inspection questions, environmental worries like radon, lead paint, and mold, mortgages and loan programs, staging tips and ideas, real estate contracts, market trends, home values, and more. It's a talk radio show, and you can follow along online. If you have any questions during the show, please call 781-837-4900. We'd love to talk real estate. If you missed any of our shows, you can listen on my podcast at talkrealestateradio.com. If you would like a one-on-one consultation with me regarding your home sale or your home purchase, you can connect with me anytime at bostonconnect.com or 781-826-8000. Now, sit back, relax, take good notes, and let's talk real estate. Hey, my social neighbors, this is Sharon McNamara, and you are listening to Talk Real Estate with Sharon McNamara, possibly. So, Benjamin, are you there?
I sure am. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. You hear us loud and clear, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. Everything sounds and looks wonderful. To our listeners who can't see the visual display, everything is lovely.
Perfect. Yes. So we're in our new furnitured studio. So we also have a special guest that sort of snuck in on us today. So we have Kristen Howlett. She snuck over there in the corner, but we're going to make sure that we get her in the shot in a minute. Of course, I have Mary Baker with me.
Hello.
And we have Melissa Wallace, who is going to be our, she's sort of our producer and our host of the show. So she is going to be sort of guiding us and putting us through questions to try to keep us on track.
Putting us through the ringer, so to speak.
I know Dustin tried to do that, but it did not work.
Couldn't stump us.
Yeah, I know. So, so tonight we're going to be talking about preparing for spring market, right? Coming from a buyer perspective, coming from a seller perspective. So we have lots of good stuff to talk to everybody about. If you want to call in, you can certainly do that. 781-826-8. Oh, no, that would be the office. But you can call us at the office if you want, I guess. 781-837-4900. Ben is at the studio, and he will pipe you in to us. So there we go.
Very nice.
Whoop, whoop.
I want to call her tonight.
You want to call her tonight? Okay. Yeah.
Please, everybody make Mary happy and send us a caller.
Yeah. If we get a caller, don't we have some Dunkin' Donut cards or something that we can give away? Let's bribe our listeners to give us a Dunkin' Donuts call.
Nobody out there is above it. No, everybody likes a good bribe.
Yeah, kidding. I think that will be good. So we have Melissa joining us. I'm going to let her join us here. And so, Mary, why don't you tell everybody what some of our thoughts are taking things tonight from a buyer perspective and a seller perspective?
So one of the biggest things, I think, and actually we had played around a little bit over, we did McNamara on Money, McNamara Financial with McNamara Financial on Saturday. And one of the things we played around with was doing like little snippet videos or previews of what we were going to be doing that week. And we were kind of put on the spot. So I think it's really difficult right now for sellers and buyers to navigate where the market really is. They're just hearing all of this, oh, the market's so hot, and buyers are hearing, oh, I can't get an offer accepted, or I have to put in multiple offers before anything comes through. Hold on, I'm just gonna, oh, that sounds great. Sorry guys, I just couldn't hear myself in my headphones, so Sharon was over there trying to fix it up for me. But I think, so there's a lot of false information or I wouldn't say false information, but emotion around both being a seller in this spring market right now and being a buyer in the spring market. So we thought we would kind of break it down and give some helpful tips for what's going on, and what we can, and if you're hiring a real estate professional, what they can help prepare you for.
And I'm sure Kristen's going to have lots of, this is it. You can like put, Kristen like to the test tonight, see how much she, can help us with our listeners tonight.
Yeah. And I'm just looking up at, okay, not a good angle for me, but I'll take one for the team tonight, I suppose. All right, ladies, I'm going to reel you guys in because you guys said that Kristen was with us, but we didn't let Kristen introduce herself. Yeah. So Kristen Howlett, you're right in front of me, so I'm going to talk right to you. You are a full-time realtor here at Boston Connect Real Estate. You've been with us for a few years. You are one of the best of the best. And I just want you to be able to introduce yourself to all of our listeners. You and I did a show, just the two of us last year.
I was in a tornado, remember?
Yes, Sharon was in a tornado and Mary was probably doing something with the buyer.
Where the heck was I?
but you and I were in this room. It looked a little bit different a year ago, but you and I did a show together. But why don't you remind everybody who you are, how long you've been with us, the areas that you service, and everything about you.
Well, thank you, Melissa.
Oh, you're welcome.
Oh, that was very nice.
My name is Kristen Howlett. I'm going to talk to you now.
Yeah.
I am a full-time real estate agent at Boston Connect. I've been here for, I think,
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
Yep.
Time flies.
I service Bridgewater, South Shore, actually anywhere. You tell me where to go, I'll go. I'll do it all.
Call my name and I'll be there.
That's right.
Yeah. So you have a new listing right now. So I one of the new things that I'm trying to incorporate. I used to do it and sort of got a little bit busy, but now I really want to go back to visiting all of our agents over the weekend who are hosting open houses. So I knew you were doing an open house at your listing in Bridgewater. So I wanted to, not very far from where we live. Now I'm yelling. Not very far from where we live, right, Mary? No. So it didn't take me very long. Plus, my friend was around the corner, so that was very convenient for me. Right. But why don't you tell everybody, about your listing over in Bridgewater? At least when I went there were a few groups there when I saw you. I know you did Saturday and Sunday, but yeah. So why don't you tell everybody about your listing in Bridgewater first?
So it's 25 Chris John Way in Bridgewater. It's a 5-bedroom, gorgeous Victorian.
It looks so pretty from the exterior. I haven't been in it yet, but I like just the way it photographs outside. It's so dimensional. Like it's not your typical cookie cutter colonial or anything like that. Yep. It looks really nice.
Arched doorways, beautiful renovated kitchen.
Well, when I saw the first picture that you have in MLS, and I did a post with using that. But then when I did my second post for you, so if you follow Boston Connect Real Estate on Instagram, you will see that I used the other exterior photo. And even when I was there on Sunday and took a picture of you, I wanted to make sure that I got that beautiful stone wall outside. It just it sort of reminds me. I love like Halloween in the fall. So, but that second photo really reminded me of like a fall night, just beautiful with the pond behind it. Like it just made me it brought me to a good place that I like to be. So I could only imagine somebody who can afford to live there to be able to, enjoy the view there.
And that house, not many houses are 4-season houses.
Yeah.
Like my house is a winter house because we don't really have much to offer in the summer. But
enjoying it from all aspects.
It's beautiful in the fall. It's beautiful in the winter. In the winter, she has these kissing balls all around the wraparound porch. In the fall, she has, in the summertime, she has big ferns.
Oh, I want to do that so bad.
And
I don't have a wraparound farmer's porch, but I'm going to find ways to just do that because I think it's so pretty.
And you know what was so clever is my seller had pictures from all the seasons, pictures of the pond, pictures in the winter.
That is a good idea.
My son's actually featured in one of them skating.
Yeah.
And he did it on a loop in the living room. So everybody, and we had tried and we finally got it to work and it came out awesome.
Yeah.
People were actually shooting pictures on their phones.
That's actually, and to get into our topic a little bit, that's actually a really great idea. So like here at the office, sometimes we have like the fire going on the TVs. It's really like a YouTube video played on loop for like 10 hours here over a fireplace, but it doesn't work. But I noticed when I came to visit you that there was like a loop playing of like pictures, but that's a great idea. So if it's the dead of winter and it's freezing or there's tons of snow on the ground, and it's a great property like that has the beautiful water. Like, yes, I even asked you like, oh, do they play hockey out there? Like that was the first thing that like came to my mind. But even in the summertime, I'm sure there's water activities that they can do out there in the summer, and
they have a little paddle boat that conveys with the property, and the kids they fish out there in the pond. So again, even in the fall, the pond is with the leaves. It's multi-season. But 100%.
that's a good idea for really any property that might show better in the summer or the spring, even the fall, might show better in the winter. Be able to show it sort of year round because a buyer can't see it at that moment. Right. Especially in the market that we're in right now, it's like you have 2 seconds and you got to make a decision. You want to be able to know, what does the water look like, when it's the summertime or the spring or the fall or whatever, but right now we're in the winter. So I think that's a good tip, if you have
display your favorite photos.
Yeah, display your favorite photo. Not necessarily like personal photos, but like display, if you have a pool, like what it looks like when it's open or when flowers are in bloom or, anything like that.
I remember Sharon saying that at one point in the summertime, if you're thinking about selling, snap a picture on your phone of at least the backyard, what it looks like when it's in full bloom.
Why are you afraid of that microphone?
I'm just not used to it.
It's all right. I do the same thing. I never get close enough.
Yeah, you have to get close. So, but it doesn't surprise me that you like all the fall stuff because fall's your jam.
Yes, fall is my jam. And I even thought about that because you were doing the Popeyes. Again, if you follow Boston Connect Real Estate on Instagram, you'll see the picture that I posted of Kristen's. It's all about you right now on our Instagram. The past 3 posts have been about you, but I mean, you're killing it right now.
Real estate is my jam.
It is. So one of your tags on your Popeyes for your jam was, some about jam. But it made me think of, oh yeah, I think that everything is my jam.
All right, enough about me.
Never enough about you.
Never enough about you.
Thank you for joining us so impromptu.
I know.
Thank you.
That was so spontaneous of you.
I'm missing Taco Tuesday.
That should be your word for 2021 when we did it in January.
Spontaneous.
I like it.
Awesome. So one of the things that we are doing with the roundtable is we'd love to hear what your thoughts and opinions are. Well, maybe not so much your opinions, right? No. If you have any questions, you can call us at 781-837-4900 at WATD. Ben is answering the phones, so you can he'll pipe you right through. Okay.
Yeah.
And we want a listener. So
yeah,
we want a caller. So let's give away something. What do we have, Mel?
We have gift cards to Dunkin' Donuts.
All right, we'll start giving some of those away.
All right. Well, if you have a question for our team or for Kristen, if you want to talk about preparing for the spring market, if you're in the market for purchasing a home or thinking about selling your home, give us a call. Or if you just want to say hi, like we'd literally give you a gift card if you want to call and say hi. So
that's the easiest gift card you've ever gotten. You don't even have
781-837-4900. So, all right, ladies, let's jump into our discussion here. So tonight, exciting topic, preparing for spring market. We typically do this show from a seller's perspective and what we give the advice, but we're obviously, it is sort of a seller's market in a sort of a sense, right?
Yes,
now.
sort of.
So we're roping in the buyers too. So this is super important. So first question we have is I put in spring has sprung. Okay. But when do we typically see the start of spring market?
Mm-hmm.
That's a question for everybody, ladies.
Okay.
Super Bowl.
I think it started earlier this year. I think it started before the Super Bowl Sunday.
I think
January I guess what our COVID market was, it started a little bit earlier for me this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I agree. I know I'm supposed to ask you the questions, but I agree. I think that it's obviously it's been a weird year. Just because Tom Brady was in the Super Bowl doesn't mean the Patriots were, so.
But I think a lot more people watched it.
Do you know how many times I said to Mark, how much further do the Patriots have to get in order to like for me to get a point so I get a square?
Yeah. And he's like, well, they
all the points.
You're a few weeks behind.
It's all about those points,
Maybe next year.
We do have a caller on the line.
Oh, well, they just wanted the gift card. Look how excited we are.
Vince in Boston. Here we are.
Who is it?
Vince in Boston.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
Hello, Vince in Boston.
Hello, Vince.
I have a question. So I was looking at a house in Brockton, and I'm not really actively selling, but the thing I wanted to bring up, is there a way, like when you do your listings, to provide a little bit more detail? For example, this house was like in a subdivision, and it was the only way to get out of the subdivision was to go on this street, which is West Chestnut, and it's like impossible to make a left turn on that street. It is so busy, and I think that would be a factor in when people are selling, or if the house is like adjacent to this wooded area and you're worried about mosquitoes, like in the summertime, because there's a pond. But is there any information that you have to always know what questions to ask, because the realtor may not say much about these things unless you directly ask those questions?
Yeah, Vince, that's actually a very good question, because as real estate agents, there are certain things that we do say, certain things that are disclosed to us, because it is sort of hard for us because we don't live in the house. So like we have a new listing coming on Thursday, and I've spent a total of 1 hour in this house. So to know everything about it is really difficult. And then there are certain things that we can't say because we can't stigmatize a home. So something had come up recently about a murder in a home. And that was over the weekend.
Was it a murder?
It was a murder up in Vermont when Alyssa was looking at a condo, and the agent found out. So the buyer's agent found out that there was a murder in this condo. So he told Alyssa McNamara, if you listen on Saturday mornings. So he told her that, but as seller's agents, we can't give that information because we would be stigmatizing the home. The only time we have to tell that is, so if that type of stuff is important to you, not even so much like, did someone get murdered here, but did somebody die in this property? You have to ask that question. But I think he brings up a really good point, Mary, though, because I think that that's the importance of working with a buyer's agent.
100%. So that's what I was actually going to add to it, is maybe a listing agent can't or wouldn't volunteer that type of information, like, oh, okay, maybe West Chestnut is a busy street and you're on a cross street and it's hard to take that left turn, and or we live across from some wetlands and it does get really buggy, because what that would do is essentially deter a group of people from looking at that house, and that's exactly what the listing agent's job is not to do. So it's important to be working with a buyer's agent that knows the areas that you're in, so that if you were coming to me, Vince, and you were like, hey, I just saw this property at 123 Main Street or whatever it was in Brockton, and I could then volunteer the information to you. Hey, I actually know that area really well, and it does tend to get really busy during high traffic times. So you might want to take the back roads, or if there's another way to get in, or if there isn't, then just let you know. And if that's a determining factor for you, you can either eliminate it or choose to continue to look at it. Does that kind of answer the question, Vince? Does it help at all?
Yes, thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
You're
Thank you for calling. You have to stay on the line, though, so that you can give Ben your address and we can get you that gift card. Oh, did we lose Vince?
I hope he didn't hang up before he gave. Vince, if you're still listening, we want to make sure, call Ben back so we can get your address and send you a gift card.
I think we lost it. Oh no.
Okay.
My mother, of course, is listening, and she says, LOL, he's so right. It's impossible. My mom also lives in Brockton, so she knows. But
she knows the struggle.
And you grew up in Brockton, so you know
Randolph.
Randolph. Oh well, why did I think you grew grew up in Brockton.
Same reason I thought you grew up in Brockton.
Yeah, that's true. Did anybody grow up in Brockton? Nobody. Oh, but I was going to say that, but you're very familiar with Brockton. So
Some famous boxers come from Brockton.
yeah, I think one of them lived across the street from my mom. She'll text me.
The kids are at school in Brockton.
Yeah,
Oh, yes,
that's
yes,
right.
yes.
But so there's that. Getting to their school, it's that it's almost sort of comes with the territory. I feel like with towns like Brockton or cities like Brockton, and you just know that there's a lot of traffic, so you should expect it in a way. There's a lot of one-way streets, just like Boston, so it's sort of expected.
But I think what Mary's point too is, that's the beauty of working with a buyer's agent. And Kristen, you work as a buyer's agent all the time as well. When you get to know your client, it's almost like, if your client came over to you, you could do the waltz, but you could also do the jitterbug, right? You know how to dance with your client, so you know what your client wants. So if a house comes on the market, you're going to be the one doing the Google search, and you're going to be the one doing all the investigating. So you'll know, hey, my client Vince does not like busy streets. He's not going to like this. So when you go and see it, and you can call him and say, hey, Vince, I know you're not going to like this property because it has a busy street.
Yeah.
But now we all know that Vince doesn't like mosquitoes. So we could say, hey, Vince, there's a small little swamp in the backyard. Chances are there might be mosquitoes there. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, that's my 2 cents.
Well, thank you so much, Vince, for calling. If you're still listening, I hope so. All right, so we talked about when we typically see spring markets start. So let's move on to the discussion. We'll start with the seller side, okay? So what advice would we give a seller to prepare for spring market? So maybe when it comes to preparing their home, Sharon, what would your top tip be for a seller in today's market for selling their home in the spring?
I think that, if you're thinking about it, that right now is the time to do it. You really want to be on the market before everybody else comes on the market. We always say you're better off to be one of less inventory than one of more inventory. But I think that just sort of sounds cliche right now. Obviously, it's a supply and demand situation we're in right now. But I think the little things that sellers used to worry about when they were putting their house on the market, they don't have to worry about as much anymore. So if there are things that you feel as if, well, I want to do this, I want to do that before I put my house on the market, chances are you don't have to do those things, because the buyers just want your house. They don't care about the ceiling needs to be painted or whatever it is.
The countertops are outdated.
Yeah, they don't care.
I just said to a potential seller, they're not going to care if the garage floor is painted or not.
Yep.
They're not going to not buy your house because the garage floor isn't painted.
And I don't think you're going to get any more money because it is.
Right.
You're probably just going to get more money because you're on the market. That's why. So I think worrying about the little intricacies. Now we have a house coming on the market Thursday, and I'm not giving out the address yet, but if you want more information on it, you can call Mary and I at our new joint phone number, which is
781.
No, 508.
508.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah, it's 508-561.
508-561-8080.
Yes. You said it to me earlier.
You said it to me earlier too.
That's what it is.
Yeah, 508.
Oh, well, that explains. That's an off-air. Yes, off-air topic.
All right, so that's our phone number, 508-561-8080. It's 8080. And we can give you more information about it. But when I went through the house, I remember there's a detached 4-car garage. And when I was going upstairs, when I got to almost the third, you can go upstairs in the garage. When I got up to maybe there were 3 steps left, I noticed that the railing stopped. And for some reason or another today, when I was thinking of going over everything with them, and I was thinking about the house, and I walked through it again in my head, and I called them and I was like, you know what, that railing at the top of the stairs, it felt a little awkward to me. So it was weird for me though, because I have a fear of opened back stairs, they don't have the risers. I can't do it for some reason. I can go up, but coming down is weird.
Break your ankle.
Yeah. So anyways, I called them. So for a hazard thing, we would definitely tell people to do that. But other than that, I just say,
safety.
Put the bad boy on.
Safety is one thing. And then if it's cosmetic, that's a completely different thing.
Mary, what would your top tip be for preparing?
For buyers preparing or sellers?
No, for sellers preparing their home in order to sell. So whether it's, cleaning it, getting a dumpster, decluttering, I'm giving you examples.
I was gonna say, if I were probably to pick one, it would be decluttering, because I think just showing everybody's looking for space now with everybody working from home, or more people working from home, homeschooling, that becoming more prominent. The better you can highlight the usage of your space, I think that would be one thing to kind of hone in on and focus on. Yeah. So take some stuff out, get a dumpster. Less is best. Less is best.
I think curb appeal.
Yeah.
100%.
I agree with you too. I don't want to cut you off, but I have an idea about that. So is there anything that you wanted to touch upon, like curb appeal, like what people should do in order to like improve it? Like whether it's mow their lawn.
Make it look
just everybody.
I was about to say, you're just going to go through the whole entire list.
You've turned into me now. You're asking the questions and answering them.
I know, because things are popping in my head.
Well, I do think now that, the trend is to hold showings until the open houses. I think a lot of buyers are not our trend.
Not our trend.
Some trends.
Yeah.
But some buyers they'll just drive by. And if it doesn't look good from the outside and that's their first impression, they might not.
This is how and I'm sorry to cut you off, but this is how I look at that is if you can't take the big wheel out of the front yard before a snowstorm, then like, are you not doing the things that really need to be done? Like, are your Christmas lights really still up? And you know what I mean? I just feel like if the outside is a good impression of what you're probably going to find on the inside.
Yeah.
So, sorry, go ahead.
Everybody's cutting me off. Go ahead. My thing was with curb appeal is at least all the open houses that I've either attended or helped, do, everybody's standing outside. So they might be standing outside for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes.
And then they start walking around too,
And then
right?
they start walking around. Well, I don't want to stand in line anymore, so I'll leave my husband or my wife or whoever, my kid, in line, and I'll walk around and, so they have somebody holding their place. They start walking around. They start seeing, okay, now they have more time to look at the siding, look at the roof, look at, is there water in the backyard? How big is the backyard? The fence, they might look at the garage floor and start to think, well, maybe I would want it painted, it gives them time to look at those things that maybe they typically wouldn't until like maybe home inspection.
Which is better though, because I'd rather that they get a chance to look, right?
Yeah.
Rather than having buyer's remorse and we've gotten too far into the process with them. That's why we do it differently with our showings is we don't want to hold off on all of the showings because we want buyers to be able to have a half hour in the house with their buyer's agent. I mean, don't you appreciate that as a buyer's agent?
100%.
Yeah, and you don't have to, I say it every week that we talk about this, but I cannot buy a pair of shoes on Zappos in 10 minutes in the privacy of my living room. Never mind buy a house in 10 minutes when all like 100 other people are around you, So
if I had a deadline for my open house that we had this weekend, we may not have gotten an offer.
Yeah.
That may be on its way.
That's good.
Yeah.
If you had a deadline?
If we just didn't do showings, we just did it for the open house. We started showings on Wednesday. And we're still showing.
Well, I think it's just you're introducing it to the most amount of people when you're allowing the showings, because not everybody's going to be able to get there between a 10 to 12 block on a Sunday. Or a 1 to 3 on a Saturday,
It allows the buyers that are working with agents to see the house before the open house. So, perhaps the open house isn't as busy and you don't get as much traffic, but that might be good, for the agent, or even it might be good for the seller because they might only have 2 hours to be out of the house and they have to get back in, so it might be convenient for them as well. But for the sake of sort of being on time here, what do you guys think about a seller doing a pre-listing home inspection?
Of course, from my perspective, I would love it because then, we would hope that if you're going to go through the extent, at least from a buyer's agent perspective, if you're going to go through the process of having a pre-home inspection, you're probably going to fix some of the things that come up. So as a buyer, I would love to go into a house and say like, oh, well, they did a pre-inspection and they fixed X, Y, and Z. That probably makes it a little bit more competitive, maybe a little bit more secure if they did want to waive a home inspection. However, as a listing agent, I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah. I don't think so right now either. I don't even, honestly, your plumbing could be literally split in half with water.
Somebody would buy it.
Somebody's going to buy it.
Yeah.
So, and all we have to say is the house is priced according to the condition that it's in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say my top tip always is get a Title V done before you list your house, no matter what season it is. It's just, we're just talking about spring.
That is a great one.
We're just talking about spring, but at any point, if it's applicable to your town, get a Title V done. And, you know firsthand, you got to get it done. And so
it's either going to pass or fail.
It's either going to pass or fail. And then you can figure out how you're going to sort of rectify that.
And then you just deal with it then. You're better off knowing. I mean, you can't make things better or give the right advice if you don't have the basics sort of covered. And it makes such a difference when you, with the Title V is if you don't have it done beforehand, one, you don't know if you're going to fail. But more importantly is I think as a buyer's agent, I'd be a little hesitant. Like I would be like, it's contingent upon approved engineering plans from the town.
Well, it's also hard in this market to write that in. So I actually just wrote in an offer on a property over the weekend that needed a new Title V, but they didn't have the Board of Health approved plans. Well, there's some buyers or buyer's agents that might not care about that, but we've had experience where it's really important to know that information. So when you're looking at these offers side by side, going to protect the buyer might not make you the most competitive, but it's so necessary when it comes to a septic system. Like, I just don't know how anybody could do that.
Yeah, because some septic systems could be, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. You know what I mean? You never know how.
It could be a cesspool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It might just be a nightmare. You just want to avoid it too.
We've all been there.
Before we move on to buyers, is there anything else that you guys want to say when it comes to, giving advice to a seller right now in the market?
I just think that making sure that making sure that they have a place to go, because it isn't one of those situations that we're in right now where you want to put it on the market and say it's contingent upon seller finding suitable housing. I think you'll find a buyer, but I just don't think that that's really fair to do to buyers because it holds up the process for everybody. And I think if you should have in mind where you want to go or have a backup plan at least.
We just had one that fell through today.
Oh, because of that?
Oh, really?
You want to elaborate or you want me to guess?
It's depressing. She's still in the depression.
Yeah, still depressed. But you know what? It's the market. I mean, it's tough on both sides.
Yeah.
So if you're serious about selling, you've got to, you're right, have a backup plan.
Yep. The only other advice that I would give would be to either hire our team or Kristen Howlett.
I like that.
That's my advice.
And you know what? I was just thinking when you were saying that, if there's someone listening that doesn't necessarily have an agent yet, have somebody that you trust just kind of look through your house and say, because I think you can be blind to things if you're used to seeing them. Have somebody say, oh, you might want to do that. Or, someone that you trust at least that could give you some honest criticism.
You have to be okay with that, though.
Yeah, you have to be able to accept it.
Yeah.
But I think that's why people hire us, though.
Well, give your little spiel because you kind of do it really well, in my opinion, when you walk into a CMA and tell them how you point things out.
So what I say to my clients when they call me in to do an analysis on their house, the first part of it is me going to their home, obviously. But I always say to them, before I start this process and walk around with you, because we'll sit down first, go through the agency disclosure, all of that. When I walk around your home, I just want to let you know that I'm walking through your homes as the eyes of a buyer. Buyers want to find things that are wrong. They're not looking for things that are right. So if I point something out, it's only because my eyes right now are focused like a buyer. So I will point things out all along the way. And the reason why that's so important for if you're listing your home is because, I mean, even in the studio, we've taken pictures up and down so many times, but like you can tell, like these walls need to be done. If this house was going on the market, I would say, all right, we should really paint this room. Let's just patch up the little holes and let's paint this room. So if my husband, Mark McNamara, is listening, we're not selling, but we should really paint this room. So that's why when we go through it, but how much will it cost to paint this room? Let's just say $100, $200, $300? If that, right?
80.
$80. Let's just say
hire Mary. It'll be $80.
All right, we'll say 100. Okay, it's $100. A buyer's going to come in here, and the buyer's going to say, "Oh, well, that's going to cost me $500 to do that." So that's why they always, in their head, it's higher than lower. So that's my approach.
Before we move on to the buyers, we do have a question. It's from Carol Carey Westmouth.
Okay.
Does anyone know?
Westmouth?
Yeah. She says it's off topic for tonight, but what made each of you decide to go into real estate?
That's a very probing question.
I like that. Kristen, why don't we start with you?
So I'd always thought about it. And then I was actually on Nantucket with a very good friend of mine who does mortgages. She's a lender. And I said, I always wanted to do it, but I feel like I'm too old. And she said, no, you're not. So I'll give Jen Morrison props because she really talked me into it. I say all the time, I wish I did it 20 years ago. I wish I started when
I'm so proud of you too. You know this because I know when I met you as an agent, obviously, we went through the whole process of you deciding if you were going to come here or not. And I've been telling you since day one, and there's no reason for me to try to have to BS you, right? Because I want what's best for everybody, and everybody's going to be their best self when they're in a company that they trust is home for them. You have a lot of things that are very similar to me. And I've been saying that to you. Don't you think?
You've been saying it to me too.
Yeah.
About her.
Yeah. Soul sister, soul sister. I'm in the singing mood today. I got a shot of B12 the other day.
Song, guys. Sorry, I wouldn't sing that.
Maybe I don't know all the words and what it means. So, well, Kristen, I just want to say that I'm very happy that you decided to do this. You're very, very good at it. You're so thorough. And this is one of the things that I see in you that I see in myself is your relationship with your clients. It is not a client. This is not a house you need to sell. This is a person that you're just like full in to help. And that's what makes you such a success and makes you so like us so proud of you here. And you get Shining Star Awards around here all the time.
Thank you. Are you blushing?
You're blushing.
All right, real quick, Mary.
Real quick.
Well, we only have 10 minutes left of the show. We still got to get to buyers.
I did go to college for a year. So I got introduced to real estate as somebody's assistant up in the city when I was 18. And I remember actually her and her brokers took me into an office and they said, don't go to college. Don't go to college. You could be so good at this. You could make so much money. I was like, psh, no way. I'm going to college. Like I'm going to UNH. Like I thought it was, I was going to live the life. Went to college, didn't quite work out for personal reasons, but then it was always something that I kind of enjoyed and wanted to pursue. So when I was 21, I got my real estate license and I have been here ever since. It was always going to be my career and my life's path and just what I do.
And then how long were you with Boston Connect and she was introduced to Boston Connect Real Estate through one of our other full-time agents that I've been friends with for about 20 years now, Donna Bagney, because Donna was the buyer's agent for your sister.
Yep. Very serendipitous how that happened.
It's weird little connections all over the place, by the way. Much. And, you were with us how long when we had just opened Boston Connect? So I had just opened Boston Connect. It was 2010. And the company was growing and it was even a declined market. And I was, full force doing buyers, doing everything. And
I remember this like it was literally yesterday. Sharon had come so I got hired to be an agent. And then Sharon was like, hey, do you want to work some office hours? And I was like, absolutely. I want to get my feet wet. I want to see what's going on. Wasn't even there 2 weeks. Sharon came in one day a little bit just kind of frazzled because she was doing so many different things. And she goes, what do I need? I go, I don't know how you do this without like an assistant. And she goes, do you want the job? I go, sure. And this is literally how her and I became her and I.
Yep.
And been like that ever since.
It was really funny because everyone's like, you need a full-time assistant. You need to do this. And I was just like, her name is Mary. Mary gave birth to Christ. So she has to be good enough to be my assistant with that name.
I got a lot to live up to if that's the case.
Yes. So anyways, that's how Mary started with us. And it's been nice to sort of watch you grow up as
a baby.
Yeah, you were 21 years old. She came in with her Betty Boop shoes and bright red lipstick and a mini skirt. And I was like,
I was hot.
Here's a little fun. Could you go buy some clothes?
We need to tone it down a bit.
Yeah, my clients aren't going to appreciate bright red lipstick and Betty Boop high heels.
Like I can still be known to rock a red lip every once in a while.
I know, yes. But here we are 10 years later, and it's been great to mold a mini me.
Very much so. So people can't tell the difference with us on the phone sometimes, which is funny.
Yeah, I know, because now they all call you anyway. So we had that discussion earlier. No one calls me anymore. But anyway,
anybody out there, call Sharon, please.
Yes.
My Sharon.
I'll make mine fast. Okay. So it was probably 2001, I guess. And so when I was pregnant, before I got pregnant, I was working at Reebok, and I loved my job. I loved my boss. And it's not that often in life where you love both things, right? And honestly, I worked for Men's Fitness and for the vice president of Men's Fitness, basketball, all those things. Fun job. Loved it. Had Casey, went back to work for a couple months, and then Mark came home one day, and he was down in Hull doing a new construction project down on the water. And he came back and said, I saw a woman walking her baby on the beach, and I really want that for you and for us. So I decided to quit Reebok and stay home. And then we had Mackenzie's soon thereafter. And then we thought that I would go back corporate when they went to school. And then when that time came, I just don't feel like we were ready. And like that wasn't what we wanted to do. And I've always been sort of entrepreneurial. My parents owned a convenience store. So did Kristen's. See, we have this weird connection. So did Kristen's parents. And I decided to go into real estate. And that's how I got into real estate.
Well,
and here I am 20 years later.
Here you are 20 years later.
Yeah. And I am I'm very fortunate. I've been at some great companies. Again, I don't think that we have competition in this industry. I think that we have colleagues. We just have different color logos. So that's how I feel.
That is great. That is a great story. All right. So moving on to, what would you give your buyers? What advice would you give your buyers for the spring market? Mary, you are the buyer's agent on the team. What's your number one top tip? We only have about 5 minutes left.
Okay. So I'll be really quick. Get your financial situation in order, whatever that is. Get super, super strong and get super narrow-minded in the sense of like you need to save. You're buying a house. Just save. Sellers are looking at down payments and financial qualifications harder than probably ever before. And where we're in such a competitive market, I think it goes a long way to just make yourself shine as much as you can in that light. That's my number one.
I think that's perfect.
Is that your advice too?
Definitely.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, I am very much the listing side of the team with Mary, and we tend to have arguments every so often. Or I'm like, "You're looking at that from a buyer perspective."
Earlier today.
Yeah, earlier today she did something, and I was like, "You're looking at that from a buyer perspective, like we're listing." So I agree though, because when I'm a listing agent and we get multiple offers on properties, unfortunately, if you're not prepared, it's just not going to work out. It just won't.
I mean, everybody can only do what they can do, but you have to be very clear on where you're going and what you need to save. And if you have the ability to, just keep, if you're renting, just keep saving money the whole time while you're looking, and don't stop. Don't say, all right, I got $20K in the bank. I'm good. I can go spend the rest of this money. Keep putting it away. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion.
And one of the other things that I think is really important too is make sure that whoever your buyer's agent is, wherever they're from, just make sure that they're on top of things as well. Because when we got those 10 offers, there was one offer that did not listen to our instructions at all. And we set it up that we wanted it to be very easy for the buyer's agent, but you have to make it easier for us too. Like, give us a cover page. So when we have questions for you, we're not shuffling through so many emails and everything. So buyer's agents should really just pay attention to that stuff. Because we are, as a listing agent. Okay.
100%.
Yeah. I would say that my top tip would be to don't get caught up in emotional bidding, because you don't want to wake up one day and be house poor.
That's
and living in a house that you can't afford.
That's a good one.
Or having regret. There would be nothing worse than having regret, right?
Can I just say we're all sitting here? Hire a buyer's agent too. That would also. And when I say hire, I mean it's a service that really doesn't cost you anything. It's the knowledge base that you're there for. But make sure your buyer's agent does know your area, specifically for what Vince called earlier about. I mean, those things do come up. And I just think it's important to have somebody who's knowledgeable to help guide you through, more so this time of year than anything.
Yeah. Looks like we only have about 3 minutes left. Hey, Ben?
We are down to our, yes, indeed, last two.
Okay, well, perfect. So we should talk about our new listing coming up and the open house this weekend. Yeah?
Yeah. We have a couple minutes for that.
So Mary and I are putting on a new listing. It's coming on in Halifax. If you follow us on Facebook, you can find us at McNamara Broker Team is still the name of the team for now. We're working on some logos and stuff right now, but you can find us there. You can see the sneak peek of that. We're not giving out the address because we're going to be there tomorrow taking pictures, and we just don't want the street covered with cars.
We don't want you in our photos.
We don't want you in the photos. The price will be under $600. And this house is gorgeous. You're going to love it. It has a 4-car detached garage, a beautiful little yard, a big yard, actually. It's an acre. So that's that. And then do you want to tell people what's going on for next week?
Yeah, so next week we are going to be joined by Emmanuel Ebot from Styles Law. He is going to be coming on the show with us, and we're going to be talking about, the importance of clear title. And do you even know what clear title is when it comes to real estate?
What is
a title? We're going to be talking about encumbrances, the importance of knowing where your property lines are, all that fun stuff. So
insurance, right?
Yeah, insurance. Getting in title insurance and all that fun stuff. So, again, we're going to be joined by Emmanuel Ebot from Styles Law. We love him. Sharon, what do you say about him?
He's like one pulse short of being flatlined.
In a good way.
In a good way.
He's so chill. He's like my chill to like my whatever I am, my high vibrancy.
Well, on that note, thank you guys for listening to us tonight, and thank you, Kristen, for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll be back next Tuesday with Emmanuel.
Yeah, follow us on our podcast too and all that. So
Talk Real Estate Roundtable.
All right, bye everybody. Bye, Benjamin.
Bye.
Have a lovely evening.